Hello everyone and welcome back to the EAP1 class. This is class 3, so the video for class 3. And today we are going to talk about 4 different things. So here is the overview for our class for today. The first thing I want to talk about is some important announcements about the course. There are lots of things going on these days with everything in this semester, so I want to talk about that. Then I want to review all the homework or classwork from week 1. So we'll take a look at that, and then we will get into the main topic for today's class, which is Unit 1, Reading 1. So we'll talk about all the skills that we're talking about in that unit. And finally, I will describe the classwork that you guys need to do for this class. So let's get right to it and talk about the announcements for this course. Now, I've received a few emails and messages from students saying they had a problem watching some of the videos in the Blackboard for this course. I have contacted the department about this at Hanyang, and they have told me that it is now fixed. I actually went in and tried to watch the videos today, and they all seem to be working fine for me. So apparently there was a problem especially with the introduction to the textbook video. So I went and looked, and everything seems fine. So if you haven't done that assignment, please contact me, and we'll make other arrangements. Okay? So hopefully those videos will work from now on. Okay, next, the corona. More online classes have been announced for the next week. So apparently we are going to continue with online classes into the first week of April. So all the way until Friday, April 3rd, we will continue with these online classes. There might be some live classes online. I haven't decided yet, but I think I will do a live class next week. And if you have seen the Blackboard tutorial video, make sure to watch that, because I talk about how to join a live session, join a class, so that we can have class at class time here online. Okay, so I'll give you more information about that as the week approaches next week. But just know that we will have some online live classes during your class time. And so for the third point, for those live classes, you will need to set up a microphone and camera on your device. Okay, so you can use a smartphone, you can use a tablet, or even a laptop or desktop computer, but you will need to go into Blackboard, into these online live classes, to set up your microphone and camera. We're going to need the microphone and the camera so you can talk to people in the class. We will have group discussions so that people can see you and talk to you, and you can talk to them. Okay, next point, new students. It was the add drop last week for these classes, and if you have joined the class late, if you added this class during the add drop period, you need to go back and do the work for the week number 1. I will see what students do, the new students, and if you don't have time to complete the assignments, you will need to contact me so we can make other arrangements. So new students, please go back and watch the videos, do the classwork for class 1. Now for attendance. The attendance will be marked on SmartCheck, not on Blackboard. So the attendance is tied to you watching the videos and doing the work for each class. I will keep monitoring that. I will check to see that you have watched the videos and that you have done the work. And if you do, then you will be marked as present. You will be marked as good for your attendance. Don't worry about what it says on Blackboard for attendance, because I am not going to keep that up to date on Blackboard. I am going to use SmartCheck for your attendance. So if you want to see your attendance, I will check your attendance probably every week or every 2 weeks, and I will update that as time goes on. So attendance, check Smart Check and not Blackboard. Now for the classwork, a few students were worried about their grade for the classwork. Please note that the classwork is only for your participation and attendance in this class. Now the scores, like the 10 points for each question, 90 out of 100, 80 out of 100, those don't really matter, okay? Those are just for showing if you got the question right or wrong. And I am only looking at that for your participation. So don't worry if you got an answer wrong. That's okay. This is just classwork, right? Just like in class, sometimes you will get an answer wrong in your textbook. Don't worry about it. Just do the work as best as you can. And then once you submit it, that means that you have completed your participation for that class. Now today we are starting Unit 1 of your textbook, and you can find the PDF for Unit 1 in the class folder for class number 3 on Blackboard. So if you haven't gotten your textbook yet, you're still okay for this week. You can use the PDF on Blackboard for Unit 1, but you will need to get the textbook starting the following week. So once we start Unit 2, well, you're going to need the textbook. So if you haven't done so already, please go buy the textbook or use the delivery form that I posted on Blackboard, where you can have the textbook delivered to your home. The last point is makeup classes. If you look at the calendar here on this screen, you know that the semester was postponed. It was delayed by 2 weeks. So those first 2 weeks where we didn't have class, we will have to do makeup classes for those missed classes. Now, I haven't exactly decided how I will make up the classes. I might have an in-person class in the classroom later this semester if the coronavirus ends. I might put up some new videos or new online classes to make up for those 4 classes that we missed. But we do need to make up those classes, and I will tell you as time goes on how that will happen. Okay, so some important announcements for this course. I hope that was clear. If you have any questions about any of this, please contact me by email or send me a message on Blackboard. Just to note, I do check my email every day, but I don't check the messages on Blackboard every day. So if it's something urgent, you might need to email me instead of message me. I'll try to keep up with the messages on on Blackboard, but the best way really is to email me. I always check my emails regularly. All right. Let's move on to the first main idea of this class, and that's to review the classwork of week 1. And so the first homework assignment or classwork assignment was to answer some questions about the first video, the class 1 video, which was about course overview. So here are the answers for each question, right? The first question was, what is your professor's name? And the correct answer was, of course, C, Paul Surratt. Number 2, what does EAP mean? Well, that was explained in the first video, and it means English for academic purposes. Right, so in this course, we're studying English for you to improve your English for further study or for your work. Question 3, which textbook will be used for this course? So I explained that there were 2 textbooks for EAP1. One is Aristotle and one is Newton. Depending on your class, you need to only buy one of them. And for our class, we will be using Academic Reading Aristotle. Question 4, what is the main goal of this course? Well, the main course goal is to enhance, another word for improve, your reading and speaking abilities. Remember that writing will be the focus for EAP2, and that is the course that will be done in the fall semester. So for this semester, EAP1, reading and speaking. Question 5. What are the 2 graded assignments for this course? It's in the syllabus. I described it in the video, and the answer is D, a Q&A assignment and presentation. So I explained that in the Q&A assignment, you will have to make WH questions, and this will be a written assignment, and that will be worth 10% of your grade. And for the other classwork, the other graded assignment, it will be a presentation, and that will happen at the end of the semester in June, and that will be 15% of your grade. So Q&A assignment and presentation. Questions 6 and 7 were true or false questions. The first, question 6, students must attend more than 2/3 of classes in this course to pass. This is true. So basically the cutoff is 10 absences. So if you are absent for more than 10 classes, well, that's when you will fail this course. So please come to class, do the work, and watch the videos. Question 7, students can never use a smartphone in class. Well, this is false. In the video, I explained that sometimes using a phone is fine, right? You can take pictures of the whiteboard or the PowerPoint. You can use your phone to look up new words in a dictionary. You can use your smartphone in many ways, but the only rule was that it should be class related. So we don't want people using Kakao or chat messaging apps during class. So use your phone in class, but only for course-related content. Question 8. This question caused quite a bit of confusion. Some students got this question wrong, so let's look at it. The midterm and final exams will together account for what % of your grade in this course? Okay, so the key word here is together, so that means both of them together. So you would add both of those percentages for the correct answer. So the midterm exam is 30%, the final exam is 30%, so together they are 60% of your grade. So the exams will be very important in determining your grade in this class. Question 9, my email address, it is the last option there. It is ttpaulsurette@gmail.com. So you can see here all the answers had some similar items in them. Just a good thing to learn and know is you really need to make sure you have the email address correct when you send an email. Right? If you get one letter wrong, then I will not receive that email. So make sure to type that in correctly for me to receive your email. And the last question for the course overview Q&A was the grading curve for this class is as follows. And there it is. The answer is C. So 30% A's, 40% B's, and 30% C, D, or F. So 30, 40, 30. This is the Hanyang grading policy, not my rule, right? This is what everyone needs to follow for all EAP classes. So keep that in mind for when grading time comes. Now the other classwork was for the second video, the introduction video. This one was much shorter. There were only 3 questions. The first one, how many textbooks are there for the EAP1 courses? Well, there are 2, right? There's both the Aristotle and the Newton, and we talked about that. You only need one of them, right? But there are 2 textbooks for this course. So maybe your friends who are in a different major or different classes could be using a different textbook from you for the EAP1 course, but for our course, we're using Aristotle. Now, how many videos are in the series for the EAP1 video series? Well, the answer is there are 14. So there are 10 videos for each unit, but there are also 4 extra videos. That includes the video you watched last week. That was the introduction video. That was one of the extras. Now, there are a few others. I think there's one called How to Study for Exams, a few other extra videos that you can watch to help you as you progress in this course. Okay, so there are 14 in total. And the last question was an essay question, so an open question. It asked which 3 units look most interesting to you and give a brief reason for each choice. So lots of possible answers here. There's no right or wrong answer. Depending on the answers, I might include a different unit if a lot of students are interested in it. I haven't decided yet. I've already set up the schedule. I already know which units I want to cover, but if there's one unit that really stands out that lots of students want to study, I might include it instead of a less popular unit. Okay, so there you go. Those were the 2 homework or classwork assignments for you to complete. I wanted to go over that. Now for the main point. This is Unit 1, Reading 1, and the title of this unit is called Career Paths. So at this point, if you have your textbook, if you had it delivered or you went and bought the textbook, it would be a good idea for you to have your textbook beside you while you watch this video, right? You can pause the video and write in your textbook and do the work as you watch this video. So, Career Paths, Unit 1, there are 3 questions. On the bottom right corner, it says Think and Discuss. And above that, there's a picture of a woman, and she looks like she's holding a camera. And the caption, right, the little explanation under the picture says, Astronaut Samantha takes pictures, photos, right, from the International Space Station. So that looks like a really cool job, right? A nice job, an astronaut. So think and discuss. 3 questions. First, what was your dream job when you were a child? Lots of people dream about having a perfect job when they grow up. In my case, when I was a young boy, I wanted to be a professional athlete, which means I wanted to be a sports player. That, of course, never happened. And that's fine. But what was your dream job when you were a child? Next, what is your dream job now? You are a university student. What would be your dream job as you think about it now? And is it different? Is your dream job different now than what it was when you were a child? Okay, so some nice things to think about before we start this unit. The next page, pages 3 and 4 in your textbook, has this nice infographic. Now, an infographic is a picture with information in it, and here it's called Dream Jobs. Now, you can see a map with all the different dream jobs depending on the places around the world. The country where I'm from, that's Canada, you can see that the top dream job in Canada is to be a teacher. So I guess I got the best job for Canadians, right? I am a teacher now. So you can see different places, United States, places in Europe like France, Sweden, and Germany, and of course Asia, right? Indonesia's there, Hong Kong, Singapore, and you can see what is considered the top dream job in each of those countries. And then there's other information there. On the bottom, there's a top dream jobs in the U.S. Caption there. So you can see that it's different for women and men. And then you can see a little description of the dream jobs. And here, we'll read through it, and it says, what was your dream job when you were a child? The website LinkedIn asked 8,000 working people from around the world this question. The top 5 dream jobs were engineer, airport pilot, doctor, nurse, scientist, and teacher. It also seems that men and women were interested in very different jobs as children. In the United States, for example, the top 5 dream jobs for men were completely different from the dream jobs for women. But how many people actually achieved their dream job? Well, according to the survey, 30% of people have their dream job now, or they have a job that is similar to it. So 30% is a pretty good number, right? And then at the top, you can see a few questions to answer. This will be part of your classwork for this week. So it says explore the theme, look at the information on the pages, and answer those questions. The first question is, in which places is engineering the top dream job? Number 2, what are the top dream jobs for men and women in the United States? And finally, number 3, what percentage of people say that they have their dream job? And then in B, we have a matching activity to match the words in blue to their definitions. So in that dream jobs reading I just read, there are 3 words in blue. They're dream, interested in, and achieved. So you need to match those with the meanings. Now moving on to page 5, this is now preparing to read. All right, it says preparing to read at the top of the page, where we will do some vocabulary building. Now in this vocabulary building, there are 7 words we need to match to their definitions. All right, so we have the words plan, smart, expensive, company, practice, begin, and earn. So what you need to do is read through this and match them below to each definition. So very quickly, we can talk about a plan, right? A plan is something that you think about doing in the future, something you want to do later. Smart, that's an adjective meaning clever or perhaps intellectual, right? An opposite word might be dumb or dull. These are people that are not smart. Expensive, another adjective, right? Something that you have to pay a lot of money for is expensive. Things like buying a house or a car. Company, this is a noun, right? These are the different places where things are made, manufactured, or produced. So examples in Korea could be like Samsung or LG. Practice. Practice is interesting because it could be a noun or a verb depending on how you use it. In this case, it's being used as a verb, and the meaning to practice is to do things again and again in order to improve. Begin, another verb. This is to start something. And finally, earn is when you get money for doing something when we're talking about a job. However, earn can have a meaning that doesn't have anything to do with money. For example, you can earn a college degree. You're not getting any money to earn the college degree, but you need to work hard in order to achieve that goal. So you earn something by working hard at it. Next, in the bottom of the page number 5, we have the vocabulary. More vocabulary, and it says list 3 ideas for each category below, and then share your ideas with a partner. Now, of course, this is a video. You are not going to share that with a partner, but go ahead and write your ideas down for each different vocabulary word. I'll just do number 1 with you. That's 3 jobs where people earn a lot of money. Okay, well, if we think about it, right, what are jobs where people have a lot of money, right, earn a lot of money? Well, the first things that come to mind for me are professional athletes. So people like baseball players or soccer players or Son Heung-min, right? They probably earn a lot more than I do. Another job that I think of earning a lot of money is company CEO. So the leader of a company, the president of a company, they often earn a lot of money. And finally, other jobs that earn a lot of money are professional jobs where you have to go to university, things like a doctor, architect, engineer. These are people that are often very well paid. Number 2 is 3 big companies from your country, and number 3 is 3 people who you think are really smart. So go ahead and fill those in your textbook. All right, next we move on to the article. Now in the article here, it's called Reaching for the Sky. Now, for the best experience while watching this video, you need to watch this video, but you can pause it to read the reading, right? So I encourage you to pause the video. Stop the video now. Just pause it for a moment and go and read this video carefully, this reading very carefully before continuing. We're going to need to read this so we can understand all the classwork we need to do. Okay, so I'm hoping you paused it and read this reading. Now let's go on to the different skills that are being explored in this unit. And the first skill is skimming. So develop reading skills when you skim. What does skimming mean? It says you skim a reading passage, you look at it quickly before you start to read it. So skimming helps you predict or guess what the reading is about. It helps you to understand better ideas better when you read the passage more carefully later. So on the right, I've extended this definition. I've written here that the action of reading something quickly to note only the important points. So skimming, you're just looking overall at the article. You're maybe looking at the title. You're looking at the picture. Perhaps you're looking at the captions. You're just looking at it quickly to try to understand the most important or main idea. So the parts of the passage you can skim include the pictures and the captions, the title, the subheadings, and of course the first and last sentences of paragraphs. Now the first and last sentence of a paragraph is where you often find the main ideas. So skimming, right? Taking a look very quickly before you read it completely. So now for some coursework, it says look at the picture and read the caption on pages 7 and 8, and you will answer these questions. So the caption, what is a caption? It's a title or brief explanation to an article, illustration, cartoon, or poster. In the reading on page 7 and 8, you can see the caption on page 8. It's a small little caption above the man who's standing in front of the airplane. It says Barrington Irving and his plane inspiration. So this is a caption for that picture in this article. So you can answer the questions by looking at the caption. Who is the passage about? And what job do you think the person has? Now in part B, read the title of passage on page 7 and answer this question. So what's the title? It's Reaching for the Sky. Now what does that mean, to reach for the sky? Well, it's an expression that usually means trying to achieve a goal. So when you reach for the sky, you're trying to achieve something that you set out to do. But in this case, it has a double meaning. So reaching for the sky could be the idea of this guy, this man, trying to learn how to fly in the sky in an airplane. So a nice double meaning for this title. So what goals do you think Barrington Irving had? And in C, next, read the subheads in the passage and answer these questions. How does Barrington Irving feel about flying? And where do you think he wanted to fly? So this is still skimming, right? We're still trying to understand the main ideas of this reading. And to do that, you need to look at the subheads. You look at the passage quickly. You look at the caption. And what is a passage? Well, a passage you can see there on the right of this PowerPoint page. It says a passage is a reading or part of a reading. And the subheads. What is subhead? A subhead is short for subheading. And sub means below, whereas heading means the title or part of a reading. So in the reading on pages 7 and 8, there are several subheads. The first subhead is A Passion for Flying. The second subhead says Circling the World. And the last one says Sharing the Dream. So by looking at these subheads, you get a better idea about what this reading is all about. Great. Now we move on to part, oops, I think I went ahead a little bit too far. No, that's right. Now we go on to part D, which is now read the paragraph and what challenges do you think Irving faced? Note your ideas below. So after reading this reading, you're able to now predict right? Predict what kind of things will happen in this reading. So what is predicting? It's to say or estimate that something will or will not happen in the future or will be a consequence of something. So after skimming the article, now we can predict what the article is all about. And in E, it says read the passage and check your ideas in D. All right, now that we've read this reading, we've skimmed it, we've predicted, we read the reading, now it's time to understand the reading. And here there are two new ideas. The first is called the gist, and the second is understanding a sequence. So what is a gist? The gist just means the general idea or the main idea. So that's for part A. Which of the following would be the best alternative title for the passage? So if we could choose a different title, an alternate title, which one do you think would be the best one? And in part B, a sequence. This is a particular order in which related events, movements, or things follow each other. So here a sequence is the idea of doing one thing after another in order to achieve some sort of goal. A good example of a sequence is cooking. So if you are, for example, cooking some ramen, you need to have a sequence, right? You boil the water, you put in the soup, you add the noodles, you stir it. These are all parts of a sequence. So in part B, you need to put the events in the correct order based on the reading. So write the correct number 1 to 6 next to each event. Both of these questions will appear in your classwork for this course, for this class today. Next, in C, again, more detail understanding of this reading. So here, a detail means an individual feature, fact, or item. There are 4 different details. So for details, you need to find specific individual information from the reading. And here's a tip. You can try to use your skimming skills to find details quickly. So remember what we did when we were skimming. We tried to look at the subheads to find the different parts of this reading. And by looking at the skimming, the different parts, you can maybe identify the detail information more quickly. So 4 questions here. Why was Gary Robinson important in Irving's life? How did Irving get enough money for flight school? How did Irving get the parts for his airplane? And for what was the main aim of Experience Aviation? Again, this is on your coursework for this class, and you can go and do that. Okay, now we move on to critical thinking. Critical thinking for reading 1 is parts D and E. So this is on the bottom of page 9. Critical thinking. What does critical thinking mean, right? Well, the first thing we're going to look at is meaning from context. Here we want to use the other words in a sentence or paragraph to understand the meaning of a word. That's what meaning from context means. So you're looking at a word that you maybe don't know. You just need to look at the sentence around that word, the paragraph around that word, to give you clues as to what that word means. So here are 3 words from the reading. We have the word parts, cheering, and pursue. Okay, so you would find these words in the paragraph. They are indicated there. So parts is in paragraph E, cheering is in paragraph F, and pursue is in paragraph H. You find the word, and then you would write the correct form of each word next to its definition. Now, please notice here you need to write the correct form. So an example of form would be, for the first one, we have the word parts. Different forms of that word would be part, singular, one part, or parts with an S. That means many, several parts. Those are 2 different forms. Similarly, with the word cheering, we can have the word cheer and we can have the word cheering. These are 2 different forms. And pursue, right? To pursue, this is a verb. We could change the form to pursues or perhaps pursuing. So these are different forms. Make sure you try to find the correct form for each word. Next, critical thinking. Well, what does it mean to infer? Inferring means understanding something that the writer does not say directly. When you make inferences about a person, for example, you guess information about that person by the things that they do. So an example of inferring is if you saw somebody driving a very expensive car. Well, you could infer that they possibly have a good job. You could infer that they earn a lot of money. You could infer that maybe their parents have a lot of money and gave them that expensive car. So inferring, right? Understanding something, not what they do or say directly, but by the way that they carry themselves and the things that they do. So now in E, you're going to try to infer. From the reading passage, what can we infer about Barrington Irving's character? Find and underline at least 3 sentences in the passage that support your opinion. So you're going to go to the reading. You're going to find 3 different passages, 3 different sentences that show what you believe about what you inferred. Okay, so go ahead and do that. What can you tell about Barrington Irving based on the things that he does from this reading? Okay, that does it for today's video and for today's class. That was the first reading in Unit 1. Now you need to use your textbook or the PDF file on Blackboard for Unit 1, and you will answer 17 questions. All the questions are on Blackboard. They are the same that appear in your textbook. You do need to submit the classwork on Blackboard, not just write your answers in your textbook. Now the due date for this is Saturday, so you have a little bit of time to go and do that. And in the next class, in the next video, we will do the Speaking 1 section for Unit 1. So there you go. Thank you very much for joining me today. That ends this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.